Well, it's been a while, Dad.
Back in action.
We're on a different couch
That's true.
in a different venue, but same father, which is good. And of course, the interviewer is
The same.
oldest son, Richard Francis Loeffler. So we left off at the birth of Suzanne Michelle Loeffler.
Which, by
And-
the way, took place right on time. No, early.
Okay.
In fact, I agreed to increase my time in the Army by 1 month to make sure that I fell within the, freebie.
A dedicated soldier.
And
a
as a
dedicated.
result, Suzanne said, "I'll show you.
So-
I will come in the original time."
She was born September 15th,
1968.
1968 in Aberdeen, Maryland on
Aberdeen Proving, not Aberdeen, Maryland, Aberdeen
Proving Ground.
Maryland.
And what hospital was it?
Oh God! Well,
Kirk?
Kirk Army Hospital. Thank
Kirk,
you very
all
much
right,
for the
all right.
lead-in, which is now a clinic, by the way.
Okay, all right. Yep. It's there's a lot of stories there too, but we'll save those. All right, so Suzanne is born, the month goes by.
Well, first of all, Kirk Army Hospital decided they weren't going to inform me, so I went to bed, went to sleep, and got up at 4:30 in the morning. I said, "What's going on? I haven't heard a thing." So I called them. "Oh, nobody called you, Captain Loeffler?" "No." "Oh, congratulations! You have a baby daughter born at 2:30 a.m."
Wow. Wow.
So I zipped right over to Kirk Army Hospital.
That is and mother and baby were doing fine.
Oh yeah,
That
they
is
didn't
good.
need me at all.
That's good. All right, so at that point, you're leaving the military, right? How many years had you done?
October 23rd.
How many years had you done up to that?
2 years and 1 month.
2 years and 1 month. And so, how did we make the transition to Eatontown, New Jersey?
Well, that took. First of all, we had bought the house,
Okay.
but the house was supposed to be ready, but naturally, as all new building goes, it was not ready. And I got put off a month. So finally, it was ready in. It was ready in February of '69, and all this time I'd been living at Grandma and Grandpa Camara's house in Nutley and commuting to Fort Monmouth. I started at Fort Monmouth the day after I left the service,
Wow.
and I actually got a carpool going with somebody I worked in the office with.
And where did Grandma and Grandpa live?
367 Washington Avenue, Nutley, New Jersey.
All right, so you're talking probably about an hour commute if
Yep.
it worked out well.
Yeah.
And
An hour.
so that must have been something, because three babies in Grandma and Grandpa's house, huh?
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Yep.
That and your parents were living where at the time?
They were living in Bloomfield, 13 Mountain Avenue, Bloomfield, New Jersey, where I grew up.
All right, so pretty close. Now, how did you come upon the home that you bought? How did you find out about it? Where was it?
Okay, back in March, while I was still in the Army, I called up the fort. The person that called me originally asked about my interest, and I said, I got a couple of interviews coming up in northern Jersey, blah, 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 blah. Said, if it doesn't work out, can I call you? I said, sure. I said, oh, okay.
A ringing endorsement.
So Al Ruskus. So he was just forming the office. It was a brand new office. It was under the time frame when Robert McNamara was, very interested in cost effectiveness analysis. So I called him up and I said, "Oh, I'd really like to come up and chat." So he said, "Sure, come on up." And within 15 minutes of chatting, I got offered the job.
Well, you had quite the resume at that point, which is nice.
Yeah, that's true. And so I said, "Well, I have to have some kind of a guarantee that when I get out in 6 months, I will have a job waiting for me." No sooner I said that, they went down to Joe Mandel, the controller, wrote up a letter. Away I went, a happy person.
Beautiful. And so then you, where did you move?
Oh, you was going to say how did I wind up where I went?
Right.
So anyway, Steve Klein, who was going to be my immediate supervisor, Al Ruskus was the more important supervisor, said, well, why don't we take a ride? Well, actually, Al Ruskus went with us. Why don't we take a ride and I'll show you some housing that's going on around here. So we took a ride over to Woodmere, which was 3 miles from the fort.
Yeah.
And there's a big buildup of houses going there.
Oh, there were homes built already or no?
Oh, for years, yes,
Really?
yes. And this was a new section. This was Woodmere East.
Okay.
And so I said, wow, this is great. 4-bedroom house, 2.5 baths, 34,000, 32,000, something like that. They said, boy, this will be easy commute. I like this. But I'll have to convince Rosemary, who wanted to get a house that has some character. This house has no character. I have to go to Allenhurst or Interlaken to get houses of character.
That is interesting.
So I said, well, Rosemary, why don't we just try this out? If it doesn't work after 3 years, we can always move. Well, as soon as we moved in, she met Karen Fisher next door, and they became bosom buddies. And I said, all right, that problem is
Yeah.
done.
Who else? You had the Tannenbaums, right? You had
We
the
didn't
Dietzes.
know them quite as well. But,
Okay.
we did get to
You left us. We're going to get to the fourth and final child, Chris, soon. But you left us off at the neighbors of Tomlinsons, who were
We sure
neighbors
did.
too, right? All right. So, and what was your address when you moved in?
14 Thornley Road, Eatontown, New Jersey.
All right, in
Never in my
Woodmere.
wildest dreams I think I'd wind up in Eatontown, New Jersey. Used to pass through Eatontown on Route 35 for our annual 2 one-day sessions at the Ocean Grove Beach.
Wow. Yeah, that's nice. And did the grandparents come to that too, or no? To the beach?
What grandparents?
Your parents and
My parents.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my father had to drive.
Yep.
Yeah,
All right.
big outing.
So now you're working at Fort Monmouth, and you're living in Eatontown and Woodmere, and you say, you know what? We've got 2 girls and a boy. Let's go for one more.
Let's try to even it up.
And so what happened? Who popped out?
Christopher Joseph Loeffler popped out on May 27th, 1971.
Where was he born?
He was born in Riverview Hospital in Red Bank, and don't ask me too much information other than I remember when Mommy came home after 3 days in the hospital. She came home with a hell of a headache, evidently from the epidural or something.
Yeah,
I gave
yeah.
her.
I'm sure that's very.
So, that lasted a few days. And
Well, around that time, I guess myself. So we now had what, a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 3 or 2-year-old, and a newborn.
yeah, you were just getting ready to go to school.
And so, how did that transpire? The decision on where to go and why?
Oh yeah, so there was Woodmere School, a 2-block walk from the house. I said, well, that's where they're going. And it wasn't my decision. Mommy got together with Grandma Joe, and they decided.
I would have loved to heard that conversation. How did that work?
I wasn't there.
Oh, really?
I wasn't there for that conversation. I was just told the end result of the
What was
conversation.
the end result?
The end result was he's going to St. Jerome School.
I think I remember a story that maybe you can tell quickly if you remember it, about when you and or Mommy first went into the school.
Mommy went.
Okay, and
Mommy went because I told her, I said, I don't know why you want to send a kid 5 years old across the highway to a school, but if you talk to the principal at the public school and the principal at the Catholic school and you decide that the Catholic school is what you wanted, okay, by me.
and what was the name of the Catholic school?
St. Jerome School.
In West Long Branch, New Jersey.
Correct.
If I remember correctly, I don't know who, maybe it's a wise tale, but supposedly either you or both went into the school and right away one of the students came up and introduced themselves, and it was very impressive that you could see that they had raised the students properly, and like, yep, I think we like this. But
Well, that's true. I didn't go. Mommy went and looked
Okay.
a little lost when she walked in there, and a student came up to her
that's
and said, "Can I help you?"
yeah,
I said, "That's the school for me."
that sounds good. And who was the principal at that time?
Was it Sister Angela? I
think it was Sister Laura.
Longo. Sister Laura Longo was
Yeah.
the principal. Yeah.
And who was the pastor?
Father Michael Gary.
Father Michael Gary. He was a great guy and an interesting
True
guy,
Irishman.
right? A true Irishman. All right, so moving on. How many years did you work at Fort Monmouth?
Let's see. I started in October of 1968, and I left in October. I think it was October of 2003. Mommy died in September. Yeah, so October. Of 2000.
We'll get to that, but
I was only with the government until March of 1996. After that, I immediately went to a contractor, Cytex, because one of the guys working for Cytex. No, he was working for the government, but he felt I had some redeeming features, so he said, "How about working for us?" I said, "Okay."
yeah, your reputation
Had a
preceded.
nice assignment with the Southcom relocation.
Which was what? What is that?
They went Southcom, which is a major Army
Command.
command, went to Florida, and
From where?
From Puerto Rico, well, various places. Puerto Rico, what the heck's the place in Puerto Rico?
San Juan?
Something Road, Roosevelt Roads.
Okay.
And
In addition to that, just because it's an important part of your life, was tell us about the biggest accomplishment that you had in your career at Fort Monmouth.
oh, so we're moving on to something else. Back to my
Yes.
time in the government. Well, there I was, happily sitting in the office, and I got a call from the deputy commander at ISMA, and he said, they need some help over on the source selection, so we're going to send you over there. Source selection for something called mobile subscriber equipment, which I never heard of, didn't know the first thing. I went over there, introduced myself. General Rogers was in charge of it, and they said, and you'll be part of the course panel of the source selection. They said, and by the way, General Skibby, a 3-star, will be coming up tomorrow, and you'll be briefing him. What's going on? I said, what? So this is quite interesting. We were in a barracks building doing the evaluation, and here is the 3-star general. We don't go to him; he comes to us.
Amazing,
It
amazing,
was amazing.
And just to add to that, MSE, which is called the mobile subscriber equipment, which you might have said already, was a major communications suite of equipment for Army, signal soldiers. And
We called it the bell of the battlefield.
Bell of the battlefield, and it was utilized by soldiers for years and years and years.
And then on comes Richard Francis.
Wintake, but we won't get to that for now. We'll stay. Did mommy work?
Well, she worked.
No. When after kids. Yes,
Well,
she taught. She taught,
she
right?
worked as a substitute.
Yeah, but then she taught.
Oh, when she taught full time?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That was 1987, and that stopped when your Richard Anthony was born.
Okay.
In '92. So back up 7 years, and that's when she started, and that's when the 4th grade teacher decided to leave the school, and Sister Angelina was, beside herself, especially since the pastor had just died a couple of weeks ago.
So she ended up becoming the 4th grade teacher at St. Jerome, where all 4 of your and her children went to school.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
As well as Frank later on.
Well, we're spouting out names, so we might as well do it formally. You have how many grandchildren?
I have 11.
Can you spout them out real quick? Don't go too crazy, but in order.
Well, we'll go with your
My
kids,
4.
Richard, Amanda, Michael, and Elena.
Okay.
And then we'll go to
Josette.
Josette's, which are Emily, Joey, Matthew, and Justina. That's 8. Frank is 9.
Who's Frank's?
Frank
Who's
is
parents? Suzanne and Scott.
And Chris is the 2 out in California, Caleb and Jack.
Yep. So in terms of span of ages, Richard is now 33, I believe. 32 or 33, right?
He
And
was born in October of '92.
yeah, so
October
33.
of this
33, because we're in
33
December.
Oh.
and the youngest is Jack, and how old is Jack?
Jack is, I think, about 18 months. Wait a minute. Yeah, about 18 months, I guess. Yeah, he was born in June of last year.
I think he's older than that, but let's say it's close. Jack? Not Jack. No, not Jack Davy. Jack Loeffler.
Oh, well, he's going to be 7.
7 years old. So,
Yeah,
so your grandchildren are from
yeah,
33
yeah.
years old to 7 years old, and you said the other one is you also now have a great grandchild, and
That's right. He's not a grandchild. He's a great grandchild.
whose child is that?
That would be Emily and her husband Michael.
Yep.
Michael Davy.
And I guess they liked Jack Loeffler's name so much they decided to name him Jack as well, right? So, yep.
I thought, this is incredible. What's wrong with John?
All right, we're going to go a little back in time. We're going to talk about Mommy again. And in 2003, you lost your wife.
September 25th.
How and what happened?
Well, she was diagnosed about 2.5 years earlier, maybe almost 3 years earlier, with lung cancer, which surprised us all since she wasn't a smoker, although she bummed cigarettes off her mother. And just unfortunately happened that the cancer settled in part of her lung where it was inoperable, and
So
the best they could do was chemotherapy, and she tried several chemotherapies, and the one worked quite well for over a year and a half, and then we went in for I don't know if it was a monthly checkup or something like that, and they said there was a small growth. So I said, it felt like saying, okay, all right, you can handle that.
Right.
Not the oncologist. No, that means we have to change and they changed her to some miserable stuff.
So she was diagnosed in 2000, and her oncologist was Dr. Fiore,
Yeah, another Rosemary.
who she loved, right? You both loved, cared for Mommy, extremely, extremely well.
They had a good relationship.
And then she died in when?
September 25th, 2003.
Okay, she died in 2003. And where is she buried?
In Woodbine Cemetery in a mausoleum.
All right, and
Rich it was an interesting story too. We had bought a plot, and I didn't really like the idea of being buried in the ground. So anyway, we come to this thing, and I said, would it be possible to get a mausoleum, a crypt, or whatever they call it? Well, she said, if you really want it, okay, but I'll have to look out, be on the outside, and I'll have to look into the cemetery. I ran right over there and checked it out and fulfilled her wishes.
And
I bought the walls for both Suzanne and Josette.
No, Suzanne
and
Chris.
And
why?
Because they were both single,
Yep.
and I don't know what made me think they'd be single forever, but they weren't. And so when they were married, I inquired to both of them where they were interested as a couple. No, in fact, Chris said, you wasted your money. He said, I'm being cremated.
Oh my God.
So there he sat for many, many years until all of a sudden
my in-laws.
Your in-laws decide, maybe it's a good place
Yep.
to be. So.
Well, the interesting thing, right, because Mommy's parents, Frank and Josephine Camara, are buried there, right?
Yes, right.
Your Uncle Bill.
Mommy looks right
Out at them.
And the in-laws look right at Mommy's part.
That's right. Your Uncle Bill is buried
He's
in the same. Uncle Bill Derflinger in the same cemetery, and it's nice because a lot of times, because I still work relatively close to that area, I get to go visit them and do I stay in the car but do a round robin of everybody, say hello and tell them to keep an eye on me and the rest of the family. Just really quick, I think it's a true story, but how did you guys come upon Woodbine Cemetery in the first place?
That's a good question.
I think it was, I'll help.
Give me a hint.
I believe that it was Grandpa Camara because he worked where for many years after he retired?
Monmouth Park.
Monmouth Racetrack. We love the horses, love thoroughbred racing, and
So he was the one that found.
well, what was his job at the park?
His job was an elevator
Yeah,
operator.
he was an elevator operator for the big, the big donors or the big wigs and the owners. And he goes, when I die, I want to be buried near the track.
Is that right? I don't remember all of that.
Could be a story, but
No, that's good.
it's a
That's
pretty
good.
good one, right? But yeah, so that's, that's very nice.
So every time I go to visit Mommy, I pass right by where Grandma and Grandpa are buried.
Yeah, and the one thing that my father did, and you can explain it better than I can, is as an incredible testament to Mommy, you bought her a stained glass window.
Oh, that was right. That was at St. Jerome's. As you go up the steps to the classrooms, up on the second floor.
In between the first and the second floor.
And actually, I have to give the credit to Father Michael Langford,
Okay.
who wasn't exactly the most popular guy at St. Jerome's, but it turns out he's a pretty nice guy. He said, "Well, do you think you might want to donate a stained glass window in memory of your wife?" So I said, "Oh, that's a very good idea." So I'm thinking of all the stained glass windows in the church, which were bought many years ago, about $6,000. I said, and about 6,000 turned out to be what, 13, 12, something like that.
Still well worth it. And what is the stained glass window of?
The Good Shepherd.
The Good Shepherd.
Good Shepherd, yeah.
Yeah. Nope. That's nice. So, Dad, you're now what, going on 84 years old in a couple weeks, or right? Or it's next week,
2 days.
December 21st. And where do you currently live? Where are we at right now?
We are at a continuing care retirement community called Seabrook Village, which is at the southern end of Tinton Falls, which is a town which pretty much abuts up against Eatontown. In fact, part of Tinton Falls shares the zip code of Eatontown. Tinton Falls doesn't have their own zip code. They have 4 separate ones that they share with 4 separate towns. And I've got a 1-bedroom apartment, which is perfect for me. Not too much work to take care of. And finally, Mommy got to, not Mommy, but the girls got to the point where they said, "You should not be doing that work anymore. You should be getting a housekeeper." And I said, "Oh my God." So as it turned out, I've deteriorated to the point where I no longer can, clean the bathroom and the kitchen and that sort of thing.
Well, you definitely still can, but it's
hurt.
time to be done.
It would hurt.
So, how
So
far?
I said, "Okay, well."
How far away from your daughters do you live?
Josette, 4 miles, Sue 6 miles.
All right, so within 15 minutes, both of them.
Oh, yeah.
And also relatively close to your church, St. Jerome, which you're still a parishioner of, right?
Yeah, I'm sure people say, "Oh, you still go there?" We got this mass here, right?
And how do you like your Seabrook? How do you like it?
Well, I stayed for 2 years originally. I think that was 2011, something like that. And let's see, Mommy died 2003, so Sue came because she was changing from to nursing school from accounting, and I guess she stayed till about 2007, and that's probably when I moved over to Seabrook. I stayed for 2 years. And against the wishes of my children, who said, "What the hell, are you going to move with all these freaking old people here?" So they're very polite. They will say hello.
I think that was verbatim almost.
So I stayed, and after 2 years, finally, the nail in the coffin was when the servers at the restaurant took my number and said, "You live here?" So I said, "I know I look very young." But
That's it, a young buck.
So I said, "Well, maybe I would have leave this place for a while." At the time, I thought I was going to leave it forever, but it wound up being for a while.
All right, my last 2 questions are more.
We're down to the last 2 questions.
Before we're going to talk really quickly about Mommy, because Mommy can't, of course, be interviewed herself. But what currently makes you happy?
What currently makes me happy? Family. It's certainly not my my dining companions.
So I think it is, you've done an interesting thing that I think others could emulate, which I think is great. And it's that you have these events that are routine events. So every Sunday you have what?
Bagel Sunday.
Bagel Sunday. So
Which
people get
goes
together
till
for
about
bagels.
9 to 11 maybe, something like that.
Right. Not that you do it every week, but on Fridays is what?
Fast Food Friday.
And where is that?
And that's also at Joseph's. Well, I shouldn't say also at Joseph's because bagels usually at Sue's. Except with all their extracurricular activities and Frank, my grandson, it's often shifted over to Joseph's. But anyway, yeah, Fast Food Friday.
And then
everybody brings their own food.
It's now been retired. It's now been retired, but you used to have dinner here. What was that called?
Oh, Grandpa's
dinner at Grandpa's
every other Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah. And what would you do?
Well, I'd go out and buy one of several items. I'd either get Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets, or strips. It was strips I got, right?
Yeah.
Or I'd go to the Chinese restaurant and get a whole group of things. I went to the pizza place, Attilio's, and got pizza I liked.
Yeah. which is important. In addition, though, your faith in your church are very important to you as well, right? That makes you happy.
Well, I certainly go.
Yeah.
I guess I go because I do have some faith. Yeah.
Yeah, and you enjoy.
Even here, I enjoy going to mass. I mean, I work as a greeter. It used to be every Saturday. Now some other woman horned in and said she liked to do it, so she does it every other week.
You also still volunteer, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You also still volunteer?
Well, not as often.
But where?
Monmouth Medical Center. I used to be at the front desk for years and years and years, but then as my physical abilities declined, as the demands of the work job increased, I finally said, yeah, I don't think I can do this anymore. Well, why don't you work for me up in the volunteer office? So I said, okay.
Sold.
So,
all right, my last question is, what guidance would you give your great-grandchildren now that you have the wisdom of 83 full years?
I would say make sure you get a good education and make sure it's in a subject it's marketable, something where you get a good job. I look at these people that are making great money on Wall Street. Actually, as I get older, the money becomes less important. But to young people, it's more important, obviously, because they got to
pay their bills
and support their children if they have any. And so get a good job. And I have to say, working for the government is pretty good deal. I mean, as long as they pay a pension, and of course now it's pension, Social Security, and
401k.
And what?
401k.
Yeah, right.
And the one thing I want
good living. I probably got drawn my pension longer than I worked for the Ford.
Life is good. And one thing that you decided, which was an interesting decision, to finish this off in this part of it, is you used to do travel for the government. And I remember that you would travel and you were at a rest area, and from that you made you tweaked your decisions of enjoying your life or going on vacation with your wife.
Oh, that was right. That was once I came home, and I came home from Massachusetts, I think. I was on travel, and we stopped at the Vince Lombardi rest area on Good Friday. And so I had to order a fish sandwich. I couldn't order a burger. So I'm standing waiting for the fish to be ready, and I look out the window and there's a bus unloading. So I said, oh, that's interesting. So in they come. Usually I don't talk to people like that, but I said, oh, where are you folks coming from? I said, coming from Massachusetts, we're heading to Florida. So I looked and I said, holy God, 90% of these people are women. So I said, they must be widows. So I said, when I got home, I said to Rosemary, we're going on 2 major vacations every year, figuring that I was going to be the one who was
go first. Listen,
but God works in mysterious ways.
One of the best things that you did. One of the best things. And I'm going to finish this part off just to say, in terms of what my father was saying about, to his great grandchildren, the thing that I will say, and you could ask anybody in our family, is that my father was consistent his entire life, and he was a role model, is a role model, and it's timeless because his great grandchildren love him as much as his children, and he's the rock of our family.
It's funny, you're a very active person. I always say, how the heck can he do so much? And I go back and I say, well, back when I was younger, Mommy and I were vice president of
Absolutely.
PTA, and we had a lot of activities that we got involved in.
And we followed your lead in so many ways. All right, so this ends this portion of the biography or autobiography of Richard William Loeffler. I'd like to just quickly and more factually talk about Mommy, just so we can have some data points of her. She was born when?
January 18th, 1942 in the Bronx.
In the Bronx.
Where in the Bronx, I'm not exactly sure. Which
All right.
hospital.
Well, I do know I
did verify that I was born in the Columbus Hospital in Newark.
All right. See, listen.
That.
Very good. Very good. And so, grammar school, where did Mommy go to grammar school?
She went to several, but she graduated from Holy Family School in Nutley, and she did spend 1 year at Ursuline Academy in the Bronx.
Okay, and then high school?
Oh, she went to the St. Al's Academy as opposed to St. Al's School.
Yep.
And
where was that?
In Jersey City, just a short walk from where I went to college.
Wow. And then she went to college. Where did she go to attend college?
She picked out a really nice one down outside of Philadelphia in Rosemont, Pennsylvania, Rosemont College. At that time it was all girls, now it's co-ed. And now also it's become part of Villanova.
Ah, what was her major?
Her major was French.
And I think she taught French, right?
She taught French for at least 1 year at South High School in Valley Stream.
Okay.
And I was at Fordham studying, and also part of the research project that was going on there, which I got paid for. $500 a month, man.
Man, that was big time.
And she picked me up every Friday from Fordham.
Now
on her way home.
She also went to the Sorbonne for a little bit.
She spent 1 summer at the Sorbonne in France with, I forget Madame who it was, but she really liked her. So it was a great deal.
And she ended up going to Fordham the same time you were going to Fordham, right?
Oh yeah.
And what was her?
I started Fordham the same time.
What was she studying? What was she going for at the time?
French, a master's degree.
A master's degree in French. All right, and
Never
then
bothered to finish it up, however.
Well, listen, everybody's
Didn't matter.
Right. Everybody's lives take their turns. As we know, you were married when?
June 26, 1963.
And where was the wedding?
In Holy Family Church in Nutley.
And then you had the reception?
Oh, wait a minute. No.
Oh.
St. Mary's in Nutley, wasn't it? Yeah, it was St. Mary's.
Okay, St. Mary's in Nutley. And then where was the reception?
We were married by the cousin of Bob Purcell, who I went to high school with.
Excellent. Where was the reception?
At the very fancy Bow and Arrow Manor in West Orange, New Jersey. And Rosemary's father or her parents realized she was an only child, so they were going to go
whole hog.
And it was interesting. It was a nice sunny day, and we had the cocktail hour out on the lawn. Went in, had a nice band, and yeah, it was really, really great.
Beautiful.
And compared to what weddings cost now, this was a bargain and a half. Even though this Bow and Arrow Manor was a first-class restaurant.
I won't even get into the weddings today. Laura and I have learned a lot from that. But all right. Anyway, listen, it was a great interview, and we look forward to watching this for years and years and years to come. All right. So thank you for doing it.
You're welcome.
All right.
It was quite a nice experience.
All right. Good. All right. We'll see you later.
Okay.